Russia just played a powerful card in the global energy game. Within 12 hours, Poland, Austria, Bulgaria, and the European Union found themselves in a standoff with Moscow, forced to buy Russian gas in rubles. This isn't just about fuel. It's a bold geopolitical maneuver with potential ripple effects across global markets. Welcome to Mwaki Insights, where we break down the world's most critical stories. If you're new, hit that subscribe button for more expert insights. Let's dive in. The war in Ukraine has escalated beyond the battlefield, reaching a critical juncture in the energy sector. The conflict, which began as a territorial dispute, has now morphed into a complex struggle involving energy resources and economic power. The ramifications of this shift are being felt far and wide, affecting not just the warring nations, but the entire global community. In a bold move that has sent shockwaves through global markets, Russia has demanded payment in rubles for its natural gas exports to unfriendly nations. This decision has not only disrupted the usual flow of energy trade, but has also introduced a new layer of complexity to international financial transactions. The demand for rubles is seen as a strategic maneuver by Russia to exert more control over its economic interactions with the West. This unprecedented demand marks a significant escalation in the economic conflict between Russia and the West. It is a clear indication that the energy sector is now a battleground where economic policies and geopolitical strategies intersect. The stakes are incredibly high, and the outcomes are uncertain, making this a critical moment in modern history. It has exposed Europe's reliance on Russian energy and raised profound questions about the future of global energy markets. European countries, which have long depended on Russian gas to fuel their economies, are now scrambling to find alternative sources of energy. This dependency has made them vulnerable to Russia's economic strategies, putting them in a precarious position. This move is not just about economics, it's about geopolitics. The demand for rubles is a calculated risk by Russia to shift the balance of power in its favor. It is a move that has forced political leaders around the world to reconsider their energy policies and alliances. The geopolitical implications are vast, affecting diplomatic relations and international stability. By demanding payment in rubles, Russian President Vladimir Putin seeks to undermine Western sanctions and bolster Russia's struggling currency. The sanctions, which were imposed to weaken Russia's economy, have had a significant impact. However, this new demand for rubles could potentially offset some of the damage, giving Russia a lifeline in these challenging times. The ruble has been hit hard by sanctions imposed after the invasion of Ukraine. Its value has plummeted, causing economic instability within Russia. The demand for rubles is an attempt to stabilize the currency and restore some economic normalcy. It is a bold strategy that could either succeed in strengthening the ruble or fail, leading to further economic decline. Forcing European nations to use rubles could help prop up its value and circumvent Western attempts to isolate the Russian economy. This tactic is a double-edged sword. While it could provide short-term relief for Russia, it also risks alienating its European customers. The long-term effects of this strategy are still uncertain, but it is clear that it has added a new dimension to the economic conflict. The Kremlin's decree has plunged European capitals into a state of uncertainty and disarray. Political leaders are grappling with the implications of this new demand, and the public is increasingly anxious about the future. Protests and political turmoil are becoming more common as people react to the growing energy crisis. The European Union, heavily dependent on Russian gas, now faces an impossible dilemma. They must choose between accepting Russia's demands, which would undermine their own sanctions, or facing a severe energy shortage. This dilemma has sparked intense debates and discussions within the EU as leaders search for a viable solution. Accepting Putin's demands would mean undermining their own sanctions and potentially strengthening Russia's hand. This would be a significant setback for the West, which has worked hard to isolate Russia economically. On the other hand, refusing to comply could lead to a catastrophic energy crisis, with far-reaching consequences for the European economy. Refusal could lead to a catastrophic energy crisis, plunging Europe into recession and social unrest. The energy shortage would have a ripple effect, impacting industries, businesses, and households. Social unrest could escalate as people struggle to cope with the economic fallout, leading to a period of instability and uncertainty. This standoff represents a pivotal moment in the ongoing conflict. The decisions made in the coming weeks and months will have long-lasting implications for the global energy market and international relations. High-stakes political negotiations are underway as leaders attempt to navigate this complex and volatile situation. It is a high-stakes game of chicken with potentially far-reaching consequences for the global economy and the balance of power. The outcome of this standoff will determine the future of energy markets and could reshape the geopolitical landscape for years to come. The world is watching closely as this drama unfolds, aware that the stakes have never been higher. The outcome of this energy war could reshape the geopolitical landscape for years to come. The decisions made now will set the course for future energy policies and international relations. As the world grapples with this new front in the energy war, the need for innovative solutions and strategic thinking has never been more critical. The decision to demand ruble payments for gas is the Kremlin's most aggressive countermeasure yet against crippling Western sanctions. This move is not just a financial maneuver, but a strategic geopolitical statement, signaling Russia's intent to leverage its natural resources as a tool of economic warfare. These sanctions, imposed in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, have sought to cripple the Russian economy and pressure Putin to change course. The Western nations, led by the United States and the European Union, have coordinated a series of punitive measures aimed at isolating Russia from the global financial system and cutting off its economic lifelines. They have targeted Russia's central bank, freezing its foreign reserves and limiting its ability to stabilize the ruble. Restricted access to international payment systems has further hampered Russia's financial transactions, making it difficult for businesses and individuals to conduct cross-border trade and payments. Additionally, the assets of Russian oligarchs have been frozen, targeting the wealth and influence of those closest to Putin. These measures are designed to create internal pressure within Russia, hoping that the elite will push for a change in policy. The impact of these sanctions on the Russian economy has been swift and severe. Businesses have shuttered, supply chains have been disrupted, and everyday Russians are feeling the pinch as prices for basic goods skyrocket. The ruble initially plummeted in value, losing a significant portion of its worth almost overnight. Inflation has soared, eroding the purchasing power of Russian citizens and leading to widespread economic uncertainty. With factories closing and businesses struggling to stay afloat, Russia is teetering on the brink of recession. The economic landscape is bleak, with projections indicating a prolonged period of hardship. However, Putin has remained defiant, framing the sanctions as an act of economic war by the West. He has used this narrative to rally domestic support, portraying Russia as a victim of Western aggression and calling for national unity in the face of external threats. He has vowed to implement countermeasures to mitigate the impact and ensure Russia's economic resilience. These measures include seeking new trade partnerships, increasing self-sufficiency, and finding alternative markets for Russian goods. The demand for ruble payments is a crucial element of this counter-strategy. By insisting that European countries pay for gas in rubles, Russia aims to force these nations to engage with its currency, thereby creating a new source of demand for the ruble. It is a calculated attempt to weaponize Russia's energy dominance and exploit Europe's dependence on its gas supplies. Europe relies heavily on Russian gas for heating and electricity, and any disruption in supply could have severe consequences for the continent. By forcing European nations to use rubles, Putin aims to create artificial demand for the Russian currency, thereby bolstering its value and circumventing Western sanctions. This move also serves to undermine the unity of the European Union, as member states may have differing levels of dependence on Russian gas and varying capacities to comply with the ruble payment demand. Moreover, this move serves as a stark reminder to the West of Russia's leverage in the global energy market. It highlights the interconnectedness of global energy supplies and the potential for significant disruptions if geopolitical tensions escalate. It underscores the limits of economic warfare and the potential for blowback on Western economies. High energy prices and supply shortages could lead to economic instability and political pressure within Western countries, challenging their ability to maintain a united front against Russia. Russia's actions have exposed the vulnerabilities of an interconnected global economy and the high stakes involved in this geopolitical chess match. The situation remains fluid, with both sides seeking to outmaneuver each other in a complex and high-stakes game of economic and political strategy. In a move that sent shockwaves through Europe, Poland and Bulgaria became the first countries to outright reject Russia's demand for ruble payments for gas. This bold decision was not just a simple refusal, but a significant geopolitical statement, signaling their firm stance against Russian coercion. This act of defiance, while symbolic of their unwavering opposition to Russia's aggression, carried significant risks for both nations, heavily reliant on Russian energy supplies. Poland and Bulgaria's economies and energy sectors were deeply intertwined with Russian gas, making this move a high-stakes gamble. Their refusal to comply with the Kremlin's decree marked a pivotal moment in the escalating energy war between Russia and the West. It was a clear message that they would not be bullied into submission, even if it meant facing severe consequences. Poland, a staunch critic of Russia's actions in Ukraine, had already announced plans to phase out Russian gas imports by the end of the year. This was part of a broader strategy to diversify its energy sources and reduce dependency on Russian energy, a move that had been in the works for some time. Bulgaria, while more economically vulnerable, followed suit, citing a breach of contract and EU sanctions. The Bulgarian government emphasized that their decision was in line with European Union policies and principles, reinforcing their commitment to the collective stance against Russian aggression. Their defiance was met with immediate retaliation from Moscow. The Kremlin, true to its threats, swiftly cut off gas supplies to both countries, demonstrating its willingness to use energy as a weapon in geopolitical conflicts. Russia's state-owned energy giant Gazprom halted gas flows to both countries, fulfilling its earlier threats and raising the stakes for other European nations. This move was a stark reminder of the power dynamics at play and the potential repercussions for other countries considering similar defiance. This standoff tested European unity and resolve. The European Union, already grappling with internal divisions, now faced a critical test of solidarity and collective action in the face of external pressure. It exposed the inherent vulnerabilities of relying on a single supplier for such a critical resource. The situation highlighted the urgent need for Europe to diversify its energy sources and build a more resilient energy infrastructure. The gas cutoff to Poland and Bulgaria raised alarm bells across the continent, prompting fears of a domino effect that could plunge Europe into an energy crisis. The potential for widespread disruption underscored the fragility of the current energy landscape. The situation underscored the difficult choices facing European leaders. They were now tasked with balancing the need to stand firm against Russian aggression with the practical necessity of ensuring energy security for their populations. They were caught between upholding their principles and safeguarding their economies. The challenge was to find a path that would allow them to maintain their stance without causing undue harm to their own nations. This act of defiance by Poland and Bulgaria, while commendable, highlighted the delicate balancing act required to navigate this complex geopolitical crisis. It was a testament to their courage and determination, but also a reminder of the broader challenges facing Europe in this new era of energy politics. The initial defiance of Poland and Bulgaria proved short-lived. Both countries, along with several others, eventually conceded to Russia's demands and agreed to establish ruble accounts to facilitate gas payments. This concession, driven by economic necessity and fears of a complete energy shutdown, exposed the limits of European unity and the stark reality of their dependence on Russian energy. Austria, heavily reliant on Russian gas, was among the first to signal its willingness to comply with the Kremlin's decree. Germany, Europe's industrial powerhouse and largest importer of Russian gas, also indicated its intention to find a workaround to maintain gas flows. This domino effect revealed the fragility of the European Union's united front against Russia's aggression. The concessions highlighted the difficult choices facing European leaders. While condemning Russia's actions in Ukraine, they were also acutely aware of the devastating consequences of an energy crisis. The economic fallout from a complete shutdown of Russian gas would be severe, potentially triggering a recession and social unrest. This situation underscored the strategic miscalculation of European nations in becoming overly reliant on a single supplier for such a critical resource. It has highlighted the need for greater energy diversification and a rapid transition to renewable sources. The concessions made to secure Russian gas serve as a stark reminder of the price of dependence and the urgent need for energy security. This showdown over gas payments is just the beginning of a complex global economic rebalancing act. How will Europe respond? How will the rest of the world adapt? Thanks for joining us on Mwaki Insights. If you found today's analysis insightful, hit that like button, share with your network, and make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories shaping our world. Stay informed, and we'll see you next time.